Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Pulte, and I'm so glad that you've joined us on this channel. This channel is all about learning how to identify plants and also care for them. Myself and a team of others will be taking the time to take you through the steps to identify plants. There are a lot of videos on this page, and we hope that they're very helpful for you. So why is it important to learn the scientific names of plants? First, it's amazing to think that every plant and animal and even fossils have been given scientific names. And we use the binomial nomenclature system, which means that each plant and animal has been given two names that describes that plant or animal. Well, of course, we're most concerned with plants, but I think that in your everyday life you already know some scientific names, maybe one like Tyrannosaurus rex, boa constrictor. These are all the scientific names of things that we know. But plants, of course, have scientific names as well. And when we use the scientific name of a plant, we are using a universal language, and it doesn't matter what country we're in or where we're at in the world, the scientific name is a common language that we can use to communicate with others. When we start learning plants, one of the things that I think is critically important is to understand terminology. So let's start at the top with two big groups of plants, and that's angiosperm and gymnosperm. Here in my hand is a classic example of an angiosperm. Angiosperm literally means covered seed. And this is a little crabapple in the genus Malus, and you can imagine that these little fruits have seeds inside of them, and they're covered by this exterior flesh. Now this is a pretty good evolutionary adaptation because this is a very mobile, movable way to spread your genes throughout the world. And people do that, animals do that in a variety of ways. And this is a classic example of a gymnosperm. This is a little Japanese black pine, and you can see that it has pine cones on it. Well, this is a gymnosperm. Gymnosperm literally means naked seed. And when these pine cones dry up and they dehisce or open up, the seeds literally just fall straight down to the ground. It doesn't have quite the ability to spread its genes from one place to another that one of the classic examples like this flowering plant, this angiosperm, has. And so we want to start with this little piece of terminology. Let's dive into the next pieces of terminology we're going to use when we're identifying plants. And in my hand I've got a herbaceous plant and I've got a woody plant. So herbaceous and woody. Woody plants I think people are most familiar with. These are trees and shrubs, things that maintain a woody stem year-round. That is really the definition of a woody plant. It maintains a woody stem year-round. This big holly behind me is a woody tree. Now right here in my hand is a little piece of sedum here. The cultivar is Autumn Joy, and this is a herbaceous plant. This herbaceous plant dies back down to the ground completely in the wintertime. It has got a fleshy stem, and again, it dies back down to the ground completely in the wintertime. The next piece of terminology we need to get a hold of is deciduous versus evergreen. Now, deciduous means simply that it loses its leaves in the wintertime. And so I have an oak in my hand, and this oak, when it becomes wintertime, the leaves will fall off of the tree. Behind me there's a holly, and this is considered an evergreen plant. In fact, it's a broad-leaved evergreen plant, and it will maintain its leaves year-round. Now, maintaining your leaves year-round doesn't necessarily mean that you keep a leaf that you grow forever. This holly will shed leaves in a cycle and continuously be shedding leaves and then also growing new leaves during the growing season. One more piece of terminology we really need to get a hold of is the difference between simple leaves and compound leaves. I have a compound leaf that I'm showing to you right now. And the way that you determine if a leaf is simple or compound is you look for the buds or the nodes, and then you go from there. And so as I investigate onto this stem, I see that there's actually only buds and nodes right here along the stem. And then all above this, where these other little leaflets are, there's actually no buds or nodes. And so this whole entire structure right here is one leaf, and we call it a compound leaf. Now here I've got an oak in my hand, and I look down at the oak along the stem and I see buds, and then I see a leaf arising from that bud. And so this right here, this is also an example of just one leaf. And so this is called a simple leaf, and this is called a compound leaf. Now there's another piece of terminology you need to really clue in on if you want to get good at identifying plants, and that's leaf arrangement. Again, leaf arrangement. There's two main leaf arrangements that I want you to be concerned with. Now there are other classifications of leaf arrangement, but there's two main ones that I want you to be concerned with. That's alternate and opposite. Alternate or opposite. This one that I've got in my hand here, I've got a stem. These are simple leaves, and they are alternately arranged on the stem, meaning that they don't come off the stem right across from each other. Now I'm going to go over to this maple, and this maple is oppositely arranged, meaning that the leaves come off the stem completely opposite from each other. Now I'm cluing into where the bud is or where the node is, and that's where I make my determination. So where does knowing leaf arrangement come in handy? Well, I've got a great example here in my hand. Right here, this is a maple, and I know that everything in the genus Acer, or all maples, have opposite leaf arrangement. Well, on my other hand, I've got an oak, and I know that everything in the genus Quercus, or oaks, has alternate leaf arrangement. And so this helps me as I'm out identifying plants to be able to tell the difference between major groups of plants. Now, it doesn't always work. You have to really know your stuff, but just in this case, these two very common plants, maples and oaks, I can tell the difference between these automatically. Now, in almost all of our plant identification videos, we give you a general height and width of each one of these plants, and also what zone these plants are hardy in. Now, this is based on historical information, but also just personal experience of the person talking. And so you need to take that a little bit with a grain of salt and really get to know a plant in your own region of the country. Now, the videos that are posted on this channel really are just the beginning of learning plants. And so take advantage of the beginning knowledge that's available in these videos. But one of the best ways to learn plants is actually to go see them out in nature, out in gardens like public gardens. So make sure that you're also pairing these videos with seeing plants in person. We hope that you'll also share these videos with others. So please like these videos, subscribe to this channel to make sure that you're always up to date when we post a new video that helps you identify plants.